Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Y'all, I know y'all missed me last week because I took a week off. I wanted to take a week off to sleep in and do my self care and get my rest. But I'm back, y'all. I'm back. Did you miss me? Did you miss me? So, y'all, I was thinking this morning while I got up, which is weird because I after I did my live last night, shortly after that I went to bed. I slept pretty good, and I woke up and I peeked in. I saw ODS was live, but I mean, I legitimately opened my eyes, clicked his live, and I couldn't even tell y'all what he was saying, y'all, because I was still that sleepy, and I just ended up falling back to sleep. But I at least clicked it and let it play. But I was asleep. I don't even know what he was over there talking about. I don't know if he had a panel. I don't know what he had going on over there, but I do know that he did the late live, which I enjoy his late lives specifically. Like on the weekend, I enjoy it where if I can participate, then I will. But I knew that I had to get up to be over here with y'all for 6 o'clock this morning, so I had to decide against that. Now, one thing though that I was thinking about, I was listening to my own replay of my live from yesterday where I gave y'all that throwback. Specifically, I was listening to my call in where number one caller called in, and we were talking about at that time the show, and it got me to thinking about plays and conspiracies. Because the beef sector has never really been that type of sector that would have plays, people running plays and conspiracies and things like that. Number one caller was talking about how the supporters were, or the subbies were fighting for their content creators, not realizing that the content creators were going to be meeting up in Atlanta and going to be getting along anyway. And essentially, number one caller was saying that it kind of made the subbies have egg on their face. It make the subbies look a little foolish. Because I think back then, specifically like Jay Wilson and Tim Blaine. As y'all can see, even today, Jay Wilson and Tim Blaine still don't get along. They still go against each other in their videos. But even back then, the subbies used to take sides and would dislike one content creator because their favorite content creator didn't like that person. Only for Jay Wilson and Tim to show up together in Atlanta and actually sit down and break bread and have a decent conversation. And the subbies got upset with that. Back then, I think some subbies felt duped, but I wonder if they felt like that was a play. I doubt it, because that really wasn't a play. That honestly was somebody trying to invest in the beef sector in order for the beef sector to do a project. And that legitimately was a project in which people signed their names to secrecy about what they were doing. So that was truly business. That was truly business. But outside of that, I don't think the beef sector ever had an issue where the subbies were distrusting of the content creators, in which they couldn't believe us, or they felt like we were always trying to trick them or scam them or lying to them. We really didn't have that type of issue in the beef sector. And it really got me to thinking about these mergers that happened. These mergers that happened around 2022, 2023, with the merging of the other sectors, like the black sector, and then like Mo3 sector, and then here recently last year, the Umar sector. Now people talk about plays so much, but in all actuality, it's those sectors that do those types of things, not the beef sector. I was listening to Brianna's replay yesterday because I missed her live in real time. But even in Brianna's live, they ended up getting really, really upset with the man, Mr. West, and they kicked Mr. West up off Brianna's panel because Mr. West started speculating on whether or not the thing that happened with Castro and Tommy, if that was a play. Mr. West was wondering it. And Mr. West is like from O3 sector, I believe. When you get to, I guess, I'm trying to find the right words. The fact that something as serious that we truly saw with our own eyes between Tommy and Castro this weekend, the fact that anybody's brain could be so warped to come up with a conspiracy and truly believe that that right there is a play is horrible. Because with Mr. West questioning if that was a play, that makes me believe that pretty much anything that has gone on in their sector must have been plays and lies and stuff. And I'm just like, who is that bored with their YouTube persona to where they would really set up a play like that? Who will voluntarily get hit upside the head with that metal thing and be bleeding all over the place, hit the ground for YouTube entertainment and to run a play? It got me to thinking, and honestly, I believe that they say what happened to the beef sector and the what caused the fall of the beef sector. I believe it's the merging of the new sectors, and especially with plays, because now they have brought their paranoia over here with them. Because let's face it, when everything is a whole damn conspiracy, that's paranoia. You don't believe your own eyes. You don't believe what you hear. You don't believe anything because you're so paranoid that somebody is trying to trick you or set you up into thinking that what's real is not real. During the mergers, y'all, they brought all that paranoia over here. And I think some people have been content with that type of paranoia and that level of distrust. But the beef sector never had that before. Once upon a time in the beef sector, y'all, at best, the most that we might have to question when it came to a content creator is if the money that they needed was going to go on a specific thing. Like when Dovey was having her transmission problems. The first time she needed a transmission, nobody doubted it. But I think it was maybe the second or third time where she had a transmission issue that then people started doubting. Then that's when people started raising an eyebrow and people started questioning. But for the most part, the beef sector was once upon a time so close-knit and trusting that we didn't have to question each other like that because we knew of each other through the screen and over the years. But now we have allowed the beef sector to be convoluted with so many other new people to now you can't even trust anything. And it bring me back to Castro and Tommy. I don't know how in the hell Mr. West or anybody else would think that was a play. Who would set up a play to wind up in jail? Because Tommy is still in jail. And when you talk about the plays, so if this is a play, then are the police officers that arrested Tommy, are they part of the play? Is the judge? that's going to see Tommy today or tomorrow? Is the judge a part of the play? When people get to talking about plays and things like that, y'all, you must understand that in order for there something like that to really be a play, that means everybody, including the law enforcement officers, everybody involved is knowing that it's a play. And it just kind of blew my mind that even when you see somebody with blood gushing out of their head, you would still think that it's not real. And then people talk about the height of mental illness up on here. That's definitely some type of mental illness, wouldn't you say? That you see somebody bleeding, you see somebody hurt, you saw somebody get attacked, but you still think that they just setting it up just because. That's mental illness. That's paranoia. I don't know if that's paranoid schizophrenia or whatever it is, but it is. In a lot of these newer sectors, they like it. I don't. It reminds me of whenever you raise children. And for the parents, y'all will be able to relate to this. You got your little infant. You just put it like you just had a baby. You got your infant, you done raised your infant and everything. Now your infant is a little toddler, and now you got to send your toddler off to preschool. So because you got to send your toddler off to preschool while you go and work and do whatever you got to do, you realize that your toddler is going to preschool and picking up bad habits and bringing them back home. Never once did your toddler throw the sippy cup in the temper tantrum. But your toddler go to preschool and don't watch these other hoodlums at the preschool. And now your toddler come home throwing a sippy cup when your toddler never used to do that. Good morning, Ivane. Your toddler start picking up bad habits from the others. And that's what I wonder if this what this is, because beef sector never had to worry about running plays or not believing what we actually see on the screen that the content creators show us and present. But because they don't went to these other sectors and picked up these bad habits, now they come back over here to the beef sector trying to throw a sippy cup. Well, you weren't throwing a sippy cup before. Why are you doing it? Good morning, Ivane. I see y'all all perched up in the bushes and the trees, but that's okay. Cause I'm just sitting here just thinking about just it's strange. This weekend I also got to go over there to Shamar's. Anytime something with well, first off, Tommy and Castro, their stuff was so heavy that I didn't even like to follow their story, so I really didn't follow it too much. But every now and then when something strange or bizarre happened and I had follow-up questions, I would go to Shamar's. Shamar knows of Tommy, but Shamar said that Tommy is not from their sector. But he's known of Tommy for quite some time, and through Tommy, he knows Castro. So anytime something would happen with them, something like a big deal, I'll go over there and ask Shamar about it just to get his thoughts. And then also to try to get some details. So that's what I did yesterday. I went over there and spoke to Shamar. We got to talking about the DV. We were talking about the DV within the gay and lesbian community. I've preached to y'all for many, many years that DV in the gay and lesbian community is real and it's very serious, but a lot of times it's not taken seriously. Shamar was saying that he agreed with me, and he said that he wanted to have a discussion like that at some point. So I hope to collaborate with him in the near future to try to bring a discussion like that to y'all, because y'all have been seeing it left and right. With Castro and Tommy, you saw the DV. You saw that DV real and up close. And that's really what be happening in the gay community. It's just we got to see it almost as if we were a fly on the wall, y'all. But that right there is not uncommon at all. Gay men get into fist fights all the time. Lesbians will get into fights. It's crazy how common it is. There have been instances where people have gotten unalived. I mean, hell, that right there could have unalived Castro. And I went back and I rewatched that, and I rewatched it. Good morning. Good morning, Fifi. I rewatched it, y'all, and the most pivotal part of that particular situation that I noticed was it seems that Tommy really, his emotions and his anger heightened when Castro said, "I'll see you in court, girl." That's the line. That's the words that I heard Castro say, "I'll see you in court, girl." And to me, I almost saw like a switch flip in Tommy. Because Tommy was at his car door, like he was about to get into the car. And him and Castro arguing across the car. But when Castro said that, it was like something switched on or switched off. I don't know. But something switched. And that's when the anger and the rage came, and it was downhill from there. Good morning, Big Mama Sue. But the thing is, it seemed that the trigger was "I'll see you in court, girl." But the problem with that is, why get triggered to do that type of thing if the thought of going to court is your trigger? If Tommy is afraid of court or don't want to have to do the court thing or whatever, then he damn sure self-sabotaged, because he got triggered, picked up that thing, went against Castro head, and ended up getting locked up. And now he got to be in court today. Almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, oh my God. It's interesting. The human brain is fascinating. Where you fear something the most, that you fulfill it yourself, the same thing that you fear. Then even this whole hospital talk with Castro about whether or not he went to the hospital. I honestly have to tell y'all, I am about tired of this sector having to convince grown ass people to go to the doctor when they need to go to the doctor. I'm sick of it. Easily within the last month, I can count 3 different times in which a grown ass person needed medical attention and refused to go, but came on here instead. Why? You're too old and you're too grown for that. The first one was Dragons. When Dragons had the crash on her bike or whatever, and skint up her face and all this kind of stuff, and came here and had to depend on the supporters to bribe her to go to seek medical attention. The supporters had to promise her a cash out for her to take her grown ass to the hospital to get checked up. Then, before this Castro thing happened a day or two prior, Pizarro, she fell in the mall. I think, I don't know why I had to chuckle about the mall. Because it ain't funny what done happened to Pizarro, but just imagine her going to the mall. Lord. But she going to the mall, she said she was going to do school supply shopping or whatever with her sound bites. And there was some water there, and she ended up slipping and falling and hurt herself, her ankle or her leg or something. And she got over there up on Lady Nika's platform, and Lady Nika had to convince her rump to go seek medical attention. And then now Castro, that got his head busted to the white meat, bleeding everywhere, blood going up, dripping up in his eyes. And the supporters and content creators on here had to convince his grown ass to go seek medical attention. What is the problem? Why, y'all? Why? Now, is it that these people are scared of the hospital? Is it that they don't have medical insurance or medical coverage? Is it that they don't have the money to afford it? Why are people making it a habit to be hurt? And instead of doing what you were taught to do, go to the doctor, go to the hospital. You come on YouTube as if these people up in your computer screen and in your phone is going to be able to save you. What? Good morning, Joyce. Now, there is a real fear with hospitals, going to the hospitals. It's called white coat syndrome. I don't know if many people are familiar with it, but white coat syndrome is an actual fear of the hospitals. I know about white coat syndrome because for a few years I had that. I would say easily the first maybe 5 years, maybe 5 to 10 years after my mama passed away, I couldn't stand hospitals. But I only couldn't stand hospitals because my mama died in a hospital. So I witnessed everything that happened in the hospital when she passed away. And I don't know, it was something about that. And because I was 19 at the time, so still in my teenage years, but almost in my 20s. Something about that experience triggered something in me in which I no longer trusted the medical professionals. I no longer trusted the judgment of the nurses, the doctors. I no longer trusted any of that, which then caused me to develop a fear. And that's the real thing. Thank the Lord, with time, or at least for me, with time, I outgrew that. But it gave me a fear, but I still went to the doctor. Even though I was scared, I still went. The true side effects, like when I was going through that, the height of that, I would like get sweaty palms. My heart would start racing whenever I needed to go to the doctor or go to the hospital or even be hospitalized. Like if I had to have surgery or anything, whenever I had to get my gallbladder taken out, y'all, it was almost like a hyperventilating / panic attack, but I still went, y'all. That's my point. Even though it was an uncomfortable experience, I still went. Even though mentally I didn't trust anything going on up in the hospital because of how my mama passed away in the hospital, I still went. Nobody had to tell me or make me go. And that's why I'm just thinking, like, what is wrong with these grown people and why they won't go? Why? Eventually, I ended up overcoming all of that because, yeah, I got my gallbladder out when I was about 22 or 23. And I had to get gallbladder surgery. And I believe it was me going through the gallbladder surgery and, realizing that I wasn't going to die. Because I think that was my biggest thing. Is like, dang, my mama went in the hospital and she never did come back out. And I think with that happening when I was 19, my thought was, you can go up in the hospital and not come back out. And I had a fear about it up until I had to keep forcing myself to do it. And I was young as hell, forcing myself to do what these grown ass people in their 30s and 40s won't do. And I'm like, what the hell? It really just throws me for a loop each time I encounter this on this damn application. And I'm just like, something ain't right. Something ain't right. And now watch, y'all, because I done talked about white coat syndrome, watch how many people up in the B sector try to use that terminology. Watch them. The same people that swear that they don't watch me, I don't get no view on my video, they don't listen to nothing I say. Watch how many people y'all gonna hear do commentary talking about white coat syndrome, even though none of them never even knew the term existed before. Watch. That's what they do. That's exactly what they do. But let me go ahead and go here. They gonna talk about it, y'all, and they gonna pretend like that they had figured this out or they found it out when they really didn't. So I'm going to look it up for y'all. And I'm only doing it for the grown people that won't go to the damn doctor because y'all need to. What the fuck wrong with y'all? So let me go ahead and get my screen here ready to share. Present my screen. Because, yeah, this is a real thing. It's a real condition. And, yeah, I suffered from this for, easily about 5 years. Maybe 5 to 10 years after my mama died. But, y'all, eventually, I outgrew it. But white coat syndrome, also known as white coat hypertension, is a condition where a person's blood pressure reading is higher in a clinical setting, like a doctor's office, than any other setting, such as at home. This increase is often attributed to anxiety or stress related to the medical environment. While often not requiring treatment, it's important to monitor blood pressure at home to rule out true hypertension. White coat syndrome is characterized by elevated blood pressure readings in the healthcare setting, while readings at home or in non-medical environments are within the normal range. It's interesting, ain't it? And it's a fairly common phenomenon affecting a significant portion of the population. Let me go back over here. Good morning, everybody coming in. Good morning, VA Sagittarius. It makes me wonder if some of these grown people got that and they just don't know it, or either they just lazy, or maybe they don't have health care insurance. I don't know. But I do know that it's getting too common around here, having to force people to do what they need to do for themselves, or having to send people or having to send people a cash app or send people some money for them to go. And then when I think about it, and I'm like, if you are raising kids in this way, not going to get yourself looked at, it's crazy. Then I got to thinking with Castro, even with a busted head, people had to force him to go. And it made me think about black men. Castro proved to us this weekend that as a black man, your head could be bleeding and you still will drag your feet to actually go to the doctor. Now, he said that he did end up going. So I want to say that on the record. He said he ended up going. He turned on his camera and showed his bandaged head where they had gave him a bandage. And he also showed his wristband where he had been in the hospital. But black men have that bad. A black man will be going through the most and he will not take his ass to the doctor. Then it made me wonder if that's just a thing within the black community because, like I said, Dragons wouldn't go initially. Pizarro wouldn't go initially. Good morning, Tuddy. I don't know why that is within the black community and specifically with black men, but they do that a lot. I was telling Shamar when I was on this panel this weekend, I said that whole situation kind of just threw me for a loop to see something like that play out online in real time. Because nothing about that is entertaining. But then for me to see so many people, well, specifically Mr. West talking about it could be a play. I wish the people that lack content so much and would really need to run plays like this would just go back to their own sectors. Room Shaker be getting mad when she hear people say about people needing to go back to the sectors. But what I'm saying is that play shit and making up stuff just for attention and the need for attention, I don't like that being brought over here because I remember the days when everything was truly organic and genuine. Whether you love Tracy or you hate her, the fact is, when Tracy have to go to the hospital, she go. Nah, she done been to the hospital and done clicked her live button and done been dramatically on the camera, letting us see her up in the hospital. But at least she took her ass there when she needed to go. Brian did his dramatic hospital lives. We done seen him, but at least he went. But then again, even in Brian's circumstance, I think he only went because he passed out, and then they had to call an ambulance to take him. So I think maybe even up in his circumstance, it took him passing out for him to go. This is what I be talking about, where the people love to talk about untreated mental illness. Yes, it's a lot of untreated mental illness on here. But even this whole denial of when you need medical attention, but you refuse to go get it, that's mental illness right there. The white coat syndrome. That's real. But you got to take your ass to the doctor in order for the doctor to let you know what that is. Because even for me, when I did have it, I remember, yeah, it's almost like an anxiety attack whenever you have to go to the hospital. That's pretty much it. A panic attack, anxiety attack. And you panic. I don't know. It's for anybody that has had anxiety or panic attacks, you know what I'm talking about. But it's only in the hospital setting or only in like a doctor setting or only, in that type of area. But it's a lot of people that's running around here that ain't even got treated for that. Y'all need to go get checked up to see what the fuck is going on and why y'all won't go to the doctor. Now, the going to the doctor don't bother me. I like to go because I love my paper trail. Most people don't realize, but your medical records and the doctor's notes and all that, that's a paper trail for your life. You need it. Just like with Pizarro, with her having that file, and people were telling her, well, she needs to sue the mall because she fell in the mall because they had water on the floor. And I guess they didn't have a sign that said wet floor, caution, wet floor. So she ended up falling. The problem about not going to the doctor when you need to go to the doctor is, even if you did want to sue somebody, you need the documents. You need a paper trail that this is what you went through. As soon as Pizarro had fell in that mall, Pizarro, I told her that she should. I typed up in the chat and I said, girl, you should have just let the ambulance come get you from the mall. But she said she couldn't let the ambulance come get her from the mall because she had her sound bites with her. Which, that makes sense. But if she would have let the ambulance come get her from the mall and take her to the hospital, that's a paper trail. So that when she does sue them, she got documentation of all the inconvenience that she went through, and out of all the money that she was taken out of, everything that she did to help herself. But you can't be trying to sue nobody about something that happened when you don't even go and get everything documented. Even with Castro, when that thing happened and that boy hit him up in his head, he should have been right there at the hospital to get his documents and everything so that he could present that to the courts or whatnot. Now, when I was talking to Shamar over there, Shamar was thinking that Castro was hesitant to go to the hospital to get seen about, because Shamar was thinking that Castro ain't really done with Tommy yet. Shamar, and this was just a speculation, he said that he don't think that they through with each other. He said that he think that Tommy could get out of the jail, and as soon as he get out of jail, that them two might get back together again. And I'm like, oh my God. If that's the reason why he didn't want to go to the hospital, because he don't want to have that extra documentation to keep Tommy in jail, I said, Lord help him. Because I mean, what? He got to unalive you? That thing was so close to Castro's eye. What? He got to knock your eye out? And you would still want to be around him? Like, y'all, that is wow. I hope that's not the case, to where, that Castro is holding out hope that once Tommy is out of jail, that they could get back together. I hope that's not it. Out of all the people up in the world, and did somebody doing you like that, you better get the fuck on. Even with me and that whole lamp situation, that was the first and last time that anybody picked up a lamp and threw it at me. You got to have a standard for yourself and put your damn foot down. The first and the last time. And that's why I'm like, people be doing the most. But yeah. Now, one thing too, I'm gonna shift gears. I did look up something else that I wanted to share with y'all this morning. Which, this is on a little bit of a different note than the Tommy and Castro thing, but I guess it's kind of similar, but it's not. Remember, I was telling y'all, and actually y'all could look up in the chat for the few of y'all that have dropped down up in the chat this morning. Y'all see y'all's names up in here look strange, right? Y'all see it's y'all's handles. And I told y'all about this about a month or two ago, about these changes that were being implemented with YouTube. Specifically, these changes started being implemented after that Las Vegas fiasco that just recently happened with that couple. Well, I did look further so that I can be more definitive in what I was trying to explain to y'all. right here. YouTube is now using handles instead of channel names in live chat to improve identification and combat impersonation. That's why I told y'all they want to know who in the fuck y'all are. They want to know who up in that chat and who saying what and who doing what. Period. I told y'all they was going to be clank, 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 clanking and changing things around after that Vegas thing happened. Because remember, with that Vegas thing, it was people running from chat to chat to chat, doxing the location of that couple, saying where where that couple was. They over here, they over there. Go over here and get them. They were being messy, carrying bones from chat to chat to chat, live to live to live. Good morning, like-minded. They were going from chat to chat to chat, live to live to live, instigating that whole situation. And now YouTube want to know exactly who did what. That way you can't say, oh, that was a troll page. That wasn't me. No, it was you. That's why they made this change. But so, yes, it is to improve identification and combat impersonation. Also, it states handles are unique short channel identifiers that start with the @ symbol. This change helps distinguish channels and allows for better tagging of users in the chat. Now, of course, this it gives a video to explain it a little bit more. But essentially, you're going to see this more. And this is what you need to understand, that YouTube is cracking down on not just the content creators, but also the subbies as well. Long ago were the days where the subby could just be messy as hell, starting shit on the chats that could affect the real lives of these YouTubers and content creators. Good morning, Jeff Dean. Good morning, Ray Triggs, moderator. Long ago are the days where subbies could run from chat to chat to chat, starting this mess between the content creators without any type of reproach. And this is another thing that goes right back into this whole situation with Tommy and Castro, because if YouTube is trying to figure out who in the chat said what to improve identification and combat impersonation, then you also know that they are also interested in who is doing what on their channels. For years, I have tried to give y'all information when it comes to YouTube and when it comes to legal shit, when it comes to the cops watching and all this, and people just didn't want to listen to me. Y'all, the channels have been being monitored, and no, it's not a conspiracy, it's factual. Channels have been being monitored, but all of these instances just basically put even more of a highlight on the channels, especially in this space. During that 1 year that I was on probation, I told y'all that the channels were being watched. Y'all ain't believe me. They were being watched. Then, now with this whole Castro Tommy thing, the fact that that was actually on film, the channel's going to be watched. The fact that the case got picked up, because I believe they were saying that the state picked up the case. They are going to look at these channels, and then probably with the questioning and the threats and all of this, they're going to be looking everywhere that them two men were. Especially if some threats were made. And that's why I say Jay Wilson is at fault. Because a lot of the threats that they made against each other happened on Jay Wilson's panel. And Jay Wilson made a pretty coin off those threats happening on his panel, on his channel. Good morning, Houston, Texas, sweetie. The threats of hurting each other, the threats of fighting, the threats of unaliving. Hell, I think it was one time where a pull-up happened. Somebody pulled up to somebody's grandpa's house or something. It was a whole bunch of crazy ass shit happening. And a lot of that was captured over there. When I was over there talking to Shamar was saying, good morning, Cheryl Burnett. Shamar was saying, well, they almost 40 years old. They them boys almost 40 years old, so they responsible for their own actions. I said they are responsible for their own actions. And Shamar was like, well, don't enable them, because if you blame other people, then you enabling the behavior. I said, no, I'm not enabling the behavior. I said they are much definitely responsible for their own actions and their own words. I said, but the problem is when it comes to the internet, there were witnesses to some of these threats. Some of these threats were instigated and egged on. And Jay Wilson was one of the people that did it. This was primarily one of the reasons why when they was in the height of everything, I was not touching much about them two. Because I'm like, I'm not going to be responsible for egging this mess on, because I've seen how it plays out in real time. I done been there, done that, y'all. Done lived it. Can write the book about it. Because I done been in those shoes. And it's so crazy. Because even to this day, and I had mentioned that to Shamar over them, I got some old Jay Wilson videos downloaded on a flash drive. And I had to have them downloaded for court evidence. Some old videos that back then, when I was going through everything, my attorney said, you need to get this, and this. And I had to get it, put it on the flash drive. I had to get 2 flash drives. One flash drive was my personal one, and the other flash drive I had to give to my attorney, and he gave it to the courts. That's how this thing plays out now. I don't know what rock y'all been living under, but when legal situations happen surrounding this right here, the courts typically want copies of the videos, downloaded copies, not no screen recording, but a downloaded copy of the video for them to have as the court evidence. Which means that your video is in the hands of the courts for them to be able to look at it, and if they got questions to the people that's involved, then okay. But they might have a question for your ass. Especially if it happened on your panel and on your channel. I can't wait to see how this Las Vegas thing is truly going to play out. I think we will all be surprised at how many people are going to be brought in for some type of investigation or some type of questioning in relation to what happened over there with that couple. It'll probably be people that you never would have thought of. Probably other content creators over there in that particular sector. Subbies up in the chat. You damn well better believe that they probably have they probably now have the ability to go back through those chats of the videos that they had to take down and identify each and every motherfucker that was up in that chat doxing where that damn couple was. Because the couple could not have been unalive if not for the fact of the subbies getting a physical location and doxing it to the crazy ass man that was driving around with the GUN looking for them. People say that the law is catching up to the internet. It is, but that's for everybody, not just the content creator. That's for the messy ass subbies too. So yeah, with Jay Wilson and all them fights and stuff that happened with them men over there up on his channel. I heard people say that the men just recently fought on Brian's channel, but y'all, I haven't watched Brian in a minute. My last time watching Brian was just checking on his health to make sure he was good. Once I realized he was good, I kind of just stopped peeking over there. But I remember hearing plenty of people do commentary that once upon a time, Jay Wilson's channel was pretty much the Castro and Tommy show. Day after day after day after day, live after live after live after live. It was the Castro and Tommy show. And I think it's cute now that something done went wrong, that not, he was busy, he was at a party, he don't know what happened. Oh, no. For months, this whole situation was instigated and was egged on, and he benefited. He gained financially for something to go wrong. But some months ago, it had to have been about a month or two ago, I wish I could remember whose panel I was on when I was talking about it. I want to say maybe Pizarro's, but I'm not sure. But I remember saying, if something happened to one of them men, somebody is gonna be to blame, and Jay Wilson is gonna he's gonna have to answer to the mess. Thank the Lord. Well, I mean, something did happen to one of them, but thank the Lord it wasn't fatal. And even that right there, I'm still concerned for Castro because it still could be fatal, y'all. Let me tell y'all something. And I meant to say this at Shamar's, but I kind of just kept what I was saying over there pretty much short and to the point. But y'all, that head injury, like what Castro, let me tell you. I know even that, I know what that's like. And no, it's not because of a lamp situation. Y'all all know that I used to play football. Y'all, many of y'all have seen me post my older football pictures with me, fully in my gear and everything, where I was playing female tackle football. I played female tackle football for about 3 years in my late 20s. Well, my mid to late 20s. And the only reason why I stopped playing football is because I ended up moving out here to Georgia. That's the only reason why. When I played in New Orleans. But I ended up getting a mild concussion when I was playing football. I remember it just like it was yesterday. Okay. So we were having practice. This was my I guess my sophomore year, because this would have been my second year playing. I was no longer a rookie, y'all. I was no longer a rookie. I was finally like, a second year player. So, I was able to strut around and, be feeling myself about me not being a newcomer to the team. We were out there at practice. I will never forget, y'all. It was cold out there. It was cold out. I don't know if we had recently just had a freeze or what, but the ground was very, very hard. All I know is that we were practicing our plays. And it was, of course, some new rookies on the team. We had a couple of new people. And these rookies were hell bent to prove themselves to the team. You know, when you first new and fresh, you feel like you got to prove yourself to everybody around you. You got to prove how tough you are and all this. One of them new rookies, that's what that rookie had up in their motherfucking mind. Even though we at practice and we still on the same team, that motherfucking girl came out there up on that field. We lined up. I got to my position on the line. That girl came rushing like a motherfucking freight train at me. And I was trying to block her ass. But in the process, she was trying to show out so much. All I remember is us colliding. And I just remember going back. Just like how you saw Castro and y'all saw that phone pointed up to the sky and up to the trees and shit. That's all I remember. Colliding with that girl, I went up and back. I saw the sky, the trees, everything else, and I landed hard. I landed so hard that I remember my head bouncing off of the grass. Because like I said, it was cold. It must have had freeze or something. I don't know. That's all I remember. That's all I remember, y'all. I don't know if I saw stars. I don't know what I saw, but that's all that I remember. And I don't know how long I was out. I just remember when I finally came back to, the entire team of my football teammates and the coaches and the nurse, everybody was in a circle around me. And I was on the ground on my back. And I open my eyes and I just see everybody in a circle around me. And I see the team nurse with her finger. She was doing like how many fingers? She kept doing that, trying to get me to identify how many fingers she had up. How many fingers? Y'all, once I was finally able to accurately tell her how many fingers she had up, because it's almost like you could go cross-eyed to where you seeing double vision. Almost like you drunk or impaired, and you ain't drunk or impaired at all. But once I was able to finally accurately tell her how many fingers she was holding up in front of me, and I was able to answer the question, then finally they allowed me to get up off the ground. Once they allowed me to get up off the ground, they put me on the bench, y'all, gave me some water, and gave me an ice pack for my head. And the first thing they told me is don't go to sleep. For the remainder of the practice, I had to sit straight up. And after the practice, my team was still worried about me because I then in turn had to drive home from practice, drive home through the busy streets of New Orleans to get home with this head injury. I feel like I was driving about 15 miles per hour the entire way home, y'all. Everything was in slow motion to me. Even though I know that I couldn't have been driving no 15 miles per hour, but that's just what it felt like. I prayed the whole drive home. I was just praying. I was just praying for the Lord to just let me make it home. Just let me make it home, Lord. But even once I made it home, y'all, I was still feeling sleepy and drowsy, but I couldn't go to sleep. They said, don't go to sleep. Do not go to sleep. Do not go to sleep. I ended up going to get checked out at the urgent care. And that's when they told me that I had a mild concussion. That's when the doctor had gave me my instructions of how I need to look out for myself and check up about my head. But then also, y'all, I needed to go to the doctor as well because I was in graduate school at that time. And with that head injury for graduate school, I needed the documentation as well as my excuse for class. For a couple of days, I had to miss school, miss my classes. I needed the documentation because I had to miss work. I had to go through a few different things before felt like I was okay. But it was a couple of weeks after that where I was having these crazy ass headaches. I had light sensitivity. I was ended up getting an excuse about like certain homework that was due, schoolwork or a paper, because I would have light sensitivity from my laptop, where the light shining from my laptop was causing me a headache. And so I needed all of that to, present to my professors. But my professors were so great. They worked with me, and essentially once I got through the biggest bulk of it, which was about a week or so, then they let me, go ahead and play catch up with whatever work I need to get done. But I say all that to say, when you get a head injury like that, y'all, you have to watch it. And that's why I was getting pissed with Castro about not taking his head injury seriously. You got to watch that shit. Even days after, you got to still keep watching it because they just never know. It's only once you come out the other side of it after a week or two where you're not having any of those symptoms anymore to where they okay with it. And again, that I had was simply a mild concussion, not a severe one, a mild one. But it did affect my day-to-day for about a week. So when I be on here being preachy, and especially if I'm telling people to go to the doctor or go get checked up, y'all, I'm not saying it just because I'm trying to preach to somebody. I'm telling you what I know. Even after that happened, I couldn't even practice with my football teammates for about 2 weeks. I mean, that really did just put me out of commission. And it was probably like 2 weeks later where finally I was able to start back. I was able to start back practicing with my teammates, and they were just keeping an eye on me. But from that point on, I was good. But it took a little while, and it took a little watching. Good morning, Dreamy. Dreamy said, the girls never want to listen to you, Dunn. They don't. And it'd be so funny to me because it'd be reminding me of Jay Wilson always talking about, I got a story for everything. Well, hell, I done lived a nice life. Yes, I have a story for everything. The wild part about it, too, about that happened, that rookie, I can't even think of that girl's name. But the rookie that had rushed into me like what she did, oh, she definitely got admonished by the coaches and by my teammates. They actually scolded her about that because they like, hell, you can't be out here hurting our players, bitch. Bitch, we need them. If you fuck them up at practice, then who gonna be on the field protecting your ass while you out here showing out? If you fuck up your own teammate at practice, then who gonna be at the game blocking for your stupid ass? Then she had to slow down. But that is a fact. Yes, the practice you want to go full throttle, but you ain't trying to injure your teammates. They're your teammates, fool. Hell, you injure your teammates at damn practice, and you ain't got nobody to help you win the damn game. What the hell wrong with you? But she learned that lesson, and then she ended up coming to apologize. She came and apologized to me, y'all. She was, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Hell, I should have made her my water girl. I should have made her just carry my stuff. Girl, carry my stuff. Carry my bag. Go get me the water bottle. I should have did all that. But no, I didn't. Y'all, I was just grateful to have came out on the other side of that because I ain't know what the fuck was gonna happen. And I ain't like my life being on hold. But sometimes it get like that. Sometimes it get like that. But yeah, sometimes you just gotta go on to the doctor whether you want to go or not. And please like my video. Y'all, I honestly didn't know where I was going with this live this morning. I had no idea how I was going to be speaking with y'all or what I was going to be discussing with y'all, but y'all, honestly, I just came up here and just started talking and everything ended up coming out, but you can't play with the head injury. Difference between me and Castro, I didn't have no bleeding, but they didn't know if I was bleeding on the inside of my head or not. Castro, though, you could see the blood just coming out of his head, but they just have to watch you. So if Castro is somewhere listening, and if I catch him anywhere in the YouTube streets today, I'm gonna let him know that he still just got to be careful and just keep an eye out on it. Good thing is Castro don't drive. He don't drive, so at least he ain't got to worry about that aspect of it. Cause yeah, your ass could just get drowsy, feeling drowsy, and go to sleep while you're driving. Whatever you're doing, you just can go to sleep. It's wild as hell. Dreamy said, these are punk stunt shows, Dunn. You can't save them. Right. Yeah. You can't. All I can do is worry about saving me. And trying to save y'all that'll listen. But yeah, this right here, two things that I really am looking I can't say I'm looking forward to, but I'm anticipating it because I really want to see as that Vegas thing go, what the outcome of that is going to be and how many people they're going to pull off of this damn computer. How many people that they thought how many people who thought that they were anonymously carrying bones and being messy. How many people who anonymously thought they was doing all this that's going to end up being pulled right on off of this and being put right up in that case, being subpoenaed by the courts for that case. And then even with this right here, with the Castro and Tommy, I want to see how this is going to play out. Even when I was talking to Shamar yesterday on his panel, Shamar was telling me that Tommy has been making these threats. Then somebody up in Shamar's chat was saying a couple of weeks back, Tommy was threatening harm to his own life, if you know what I mean. About wanting to take his own life just a couple weeks ago, they were saying over there. And I'm like, what? He was trying to take his own life. But I think, y'all, if y'all go back to Castro's video, I think I heard Tommy say something about taking his own life. When he was standing there in that car, like he was about to get into the car, but he was just standing there talking across the car, I heard him say something about it. I have to go back and find the timestamp, but I think I heard him mention that. But what Shamar was telling me was that Tommy believes that because he has a couple of mental illnesses diagnosis, according to him, that he's going to be able to get away with this that he did. And I was explaining to Shamar, I said, I hope that's not what he is thinking. I get tired of hearing so many lay people up on this internet that be quick to say, oh, well, I got bipolar or I got this and I got that, so I'm going to get away with. No. If you think for a second that you can assault somebody like that and just walk into a court and say, well, I got this, that, and the third, and they're going to let you go, you crazy. You crazy. I was explaining to Shamar that even for you to have your medical records admissible into the courts, that means they're gonna have to go through your doctors, and they're gonna have to get a long list of all of your medical records, the medications you take, all of that. Then once they get them records, a lot of the times they will want to get a second opinion, which is why they bring in those expert doctors. The expert doctors are then allowed to look over your documentation and your medical records to see if they agree. If they agree with what's on it. When the courts have to get expert doctors, them doctors have to be paid. I just want y'all to be aware of that. The doctors have to be paid for their expert testimony in order to clear your ass. Good morning, Jinx. They have to get paid by the hour for doing that work and looking over all your shit. So your attorney fees go up exponentially because the attorneys have to pay those doctors to look over it. And then, of course, you got to reimburse them attorneys for whatever they done paid out. It's gonna, believe me, you gonna pay for all that. So when you want to bring up your mental health, you can bring up your mental health, but that's gonna mean doctors involved, which is gonna mean more money on your feet. More money that you have to pay. Another thing that is more money that you have to pay when it comes to social media. If they have to actually go through the process of getting, IT people involved when it comes to like these videos and stuff, that's going to cost as well. And when I say IT people, I mean a lot of the times if you have to go the route of having video evidence, they have to get the specialists to review the videos to make sure that the videos have not been altered or tampered with. They're experts that have to check to make sure that you ain't photoshopped this shit, to make sure that you ain't just put a voiceover over this, to make sure that you didn't alter this or cut this part out or move this part around, edit this part only to make it look like what you want it to look like. In order for them to determine the authenticity of a video, if they not getting the video directly from YouTube, then they need to get specialists involved to make sure that the video is not altered. So that ends up making your attorney fee go up as well. Those experts. Good morning, Miss Douglas. How in the hell are you? Dreamy said it doesn't seem like Castro wants him to get consequences. Well, that's what Shamar was saying to me the other day. Yesterday. Shamar was saying that he think that Castro still liked the man and that Castro will probably get back with the man once the man get out of jail. And I'm like, oh, I hope Castro ain't that crazy. I hope he ain't that crazy. You can have one attorney fee. Let's just say your attorney fee is $3,000. But then if your attorney have to go through getting expert doctors to go through your medical records and all this kind of stuff, that might add an additional $1,000 fee for a doctor, because the doctor got to get paid for that time going through your records and stuff, And then if it's something related to media and videos. Good morning. Good morning, Pizarro and Pretty Chocolate Girl. Good morning, y'all. If it's related to the media and the videos, y'all, they might need some type of IT expert, and then that could cost. But that Vegas thing, I think with the Vegas thing, they going directly to YouTube. Because I wouldn't be surprised if YouTube or Google, or if they are not going to be listed in some type of lawsuit about this. I think the kids, the children of that couple that got unalived would probably be the ones to have to pursue something against Google and YouTube. But when you have to go through those types of experts, that could add another $1,000 to your bill. So if your base fee for your attorney was $3,000, but then now you want your medical records involved so that you could plead insanity, then that might be an additional $1,000. And then that if they need the technical experts to go through videos and make sure it hasn't been altered or changed, that could be another $1,000. That shit could add up. This is the reason why you see people with like the legal fees of like $12,000, $13,000, $15,000, depending on what it is. But you also must know, if you're going to try to plead some type of insanity because you snapped, because you got bipolar, because you got this, that, and the third, you have to be aware that once that is admissible into the court, all of that shit gonna be cross-examined. So if Tommy do want to try to use some type of insanity, he's gonna have to be open for all of his medical business to be out and about. All of it. You can't just bring one part of your medical in and not all of it. You got to bring it all in. And then, of course, they will probably factor in the fact that he is an alcoholic and a drunk. If you got bipolar and if you on medications because of your mental illness, the court's gonna wonder, well, what in the hell you doing drinking every day? I mean, there's so many different ways that could go. Too many people just think, good morning, room shaker. Too many people just think that they could just yell, well, I'm bipolar, or I'm schizophrenic, or I'm this, I'm that, to a court, and that's just gonna save them. But no, it's a whole bunch of legwork when it comes to bringing stuff like that into the courts. And then you open yourself up for them to scrutinize every single thing that you do. Oh, thank you, room shaker. I wasn't even looking at the likes. Yeah, please like my video. But yeah, I think today the main thing that I'm just looking forward to today, probably what I'll start my morning off doing, is going over there to Castro's channel so that I can look at his last couple of lives, because I think he did a couple of lives yesterday that I missed. I need to go over there just to get his perspective and his point of view about the situation. Good morning, Robin. And look at y'all, it's so crazy seeing these new names up in here. If I didn't know Robin, I would have been like, who in the hell is this with a wrench? But as soon as I saw Virgo as the name, I'm like, that's gotta be Robin. But them changing it to these handles, y'all, I was like, who is this? But y'all, and I'll show this one more time to y'all new people that just came in. I was showing this, y'all. That's what made me get on that tangent. But for the new people that just got in, nuh-uh, Dreamy, I ain't look at Lemon. I didn't look at Lemon. I don't really look at Lemon like that. Let me tell you, Dreamy, if I'm blocked out of your chat and I can't type, the likelihood of me watching you is slim to none. If I can't type a comment in there, why am I gonna sit there and waste 5, 6, 7, 8 hours watching you? So no, I don't know anything about a Lemon Freak show. But y'all see how y'all names look? I was showing this because I've been trying to explain this on different panels. A room shaker, I explained it on your panel the other day. But you can see right here, YouTube is now using handles instead of channel names in the live chat to improve identification and combat impersonation. The handles are unique short channel identifiers that start with the @ symbol. This change helps distinguish channels and allows for better tagging of users in the chat. So now y'all have an accurate explanation on why y'all's names look like this right now up in the chat. Y'all's names look like this up in the chat so that it can improve identification and so that nobody can impersonate you, because YouTube is cracking down on the fuckery and the troll pages and the bone carrying and the mess, the doxing, all of that. They cracking down on all of that. So that's why they making these types of changes that you see. This is why I be telling everybody to read your emails and check your emails when it comes to YouTube, especially the content creators. If you check the emails and actually read over the stuff that they sending you, you'll be able to understand that they making a lot of changes, and these changes started being implemented after the Las Vegas fiasco. After that Las Vegas fiasco, that's when I like what I was saying, that's when I realized that YouTube was really cracking down on different things. And I guess honestly, y'all, it's inevitable. I would expect them to crack down. Otherwise, they're gonna be liable for a lot of crazy shit that's going on. They're gonna be liable. But yes, so I did talk about the plays and the controversy, the conspiracies in the plays at the beginning. But to be honest, y'all, I just been talking with y'all just in general about everything that kind of transpired this weekend. But anything in relation to Lemon, I don't know anything about. I don't know anything about Lemon because I wasn't about to stay up all night to watch him. I just wasn't. I couldn't stay up to try to watch Lemon to see what he had going on at all. Now I'm looking here. I'm trying to see. Let me refresh this real quick. And actually, I need to stop sharing this screen with y'all. But yeah, at least y'all was able to see that verbiage. So now y'all can see why the names have changed. Now y'all can have a better understanding of why you see the @ handles in the live versus what you used to see where it was just something else. Because they want to be able to identify you. They want to know who you are, who it is. So here I am trying to go. I'm trying to set up. I was trying to set up a dang on. Oh, here we go. Set up my redirect, y'all, because y'all been here for almost an hour and a half. Oh, Dreamy Genie said, well, it's the same old script, but now includes Tracy. What you mean? So what, Tracy? What you mean about Tracy? And that's the thing. As much as YouTube cameras do get people bother her about covering Lemon, and I agree, she do cover Lemon a lot. Y'all, that's really whenever I figure out anything about Lemon that I might want to see, because I'll listen to her recap. And if she recap and she's saying something that sounds interesting that happened at Lemon's, then I may give him a click and a view for the replay to watch it. But just for me to just go out of my way to watch Lemon, no, I don't. I mean, even I saw on Brianna's with Lemon getting into it with Brianna yesterday. And I'm just like, I think it's crazy for him to think that this woman would not take her man's side. And that right there is a sign of mental illness. Like, that's her whole man. And the fact that he got mad at her, want to drag her because she didn't want them kids being brought up. Well, that's her stepkids. It's like, and then as soon as she say something about his damn brother, then now he mad about his brother being brought up, but you mentioned this man kids. And y'all know, I said stuff about kids, but the problem is, Lemon really think that he could disrespect that man's kids, and that Brianna gonna be okay with that. No, that's not how that work. That's not how that work. See that TV? Wouldn't that be the step kids? Ain't that her step kids? Child, I'm like, mm-hmm. It's funny how Lemon jump on people. He'll jump on people for people saying something about his brother or saying something about one of his fake girlfriends on here, but he don't expect for Brianna to really get an attitude about that man and his kids. Like them people up in the same house with her. Dreamy said he was crying like the punk he is, just a whole mess, child. It is. And that's why I'm like, clearly, he is taking YouTube entirely too seriously if he really would think that she is not going to choose the people in her real life over him. But when I saw that his live was talking about let's drag a pig, why would I want to click it? He doing the same old fat read, the same old fat joke, the same old thing, just a different day. All because this girl is choosing the side of her man and his kids. That's how you really know that people just be itching for a beef, any beef. Now, I will say, if y'all love me so much, please like my video. But if y'all really, really, really love me, I did do a live last night, a slight throwback live, but it's definitely one for you to catch if you missed it last night, of one of my call-in shows, because I needed to show my call-ins from 2020 so that Lippy Hippie and others would stop wondering if I'm about to do a call-in show because they're trying to do it. No, I already did it. So my call-in show from last night is definitely one to watch. I did that one on my Dunn Daughter channel, and it is shared on my community wall. This morning show was just this morning show. If you got here late, definitely read about to the beginning. I really tried to drop some gems of information on y'all today when it comes to the Black community, mental health, DV, mild concussion, all of these things I talked about. So you could definitely red ball or catch the replay and try to grab a gem or two out of this. It might could help you in your life. But either way, while I went on ahead and set up my redirect for YouTube cameras, y'all, I'm about to get on up off of here and go on about my day. Thank y'all for joining me. Please like the video. Y'all take care, be blessed, don't stress, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.